Hello, Buddhas. Today we are going to talk about failure. Now, Buddhas, before we get started, I've got to let you all know that I've got a playlist down in the doodly-doo that you can binge watch to help accelerate your spiritual awakening. Also, this is the second take of this video, and I don't normally do that because I actually failed at filming the first take. I blame the cat entirely. He decided to start using his litter box and then he stopped, so I had to stop the recording. But it's a great opportunity because I could decide, oh my god, this video about failure is a failure. I give up. That would actually be a failure. But I'm here again. So we're not failing, because trying something for the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, the 1000th time, all of those previous attempts are not failures. That's where our world, our society has mucked up that word so bad that we think everything that we don't succeed at immediately is a failure. And that is so completely and utterly incorrect. I don't normally take stances that hard, but it's one of those things that really gets me going, Buddhas. Because what is failure? Failure would be me packing up, giving up, selling off my gear, and quitting YouTube because the cat decided to use a litter box in the middle of a shoot. That would be a failure. Now, it could always be recovered from, I could always start over again, but in the short term that would ultimately be a failure because I give up on my goal, and my goal is to bring 1 billion Buddhas as much content as I possibly can and to help give some of you that spiritual awakening spark that you're all so very desirable of. And Buddhas, that's really what it comes down to. I can have the worst day ever, and I can have the worst shoot ever on a video, and I can have the worst whatever. If I let that define me and I give up doing my life, my endeavor, my project, my work because of that failure, or because of the hundreds of failures one after the other, that is failure, because I'm letting the circumstances win. But Buddhas, if I decide that I am going in this direction and I am doing what I desire to do and I am creating Buddha Billionaire content for all of you, and I continue to do that and I take as many takes as it takes in order to get the right take on a video, then I'm never failing. I'm learning. I'm adapting. I'm allowing mistakes to happen, and I am building a better repertoire of the ability to be the Buddha Billionaire. But what's quintessentially important here is that at no point am I deciding that these circumstances are too much and I will now fail, ha ha ha. Because ultimately, what does that lead to, Buddhas? That just leads to starting on another project and continuously failing at that and constantly getting discouraged. And I'm not saying every project that anyone ever starts all the time is the immediate project that they should take through the rest of their life. But when you find something that you're super passionate about and you love and you just can't stop talking about it, that, to me, seems like something that's worth failing at. A lot. And that's where I'm at right now, Buddhas, and I want to share that with you, share that journey, because Buddha Billionaire is a journey to be shared with 1 billion Buddhas. And it really comes down to how you look at it. How do you define your failures? I have failed at numerous things throughout my life, Buddhas, but I have never failed at wanting to succeed. Because that is a desire that's in me, to burning inside of me, to help as many people as I possibly can. And I'm finally at a point where I'm starting to discover how I can do that and how I can bring this value to the world through something like Buddha Billionaire and beyond, and expand that. And that's where I have personally learned the greatest lessons of all about failure. I have had failures in business, I have had failures in relationships, I have had failures in family relationships, I have had all kinds of... My cat is causing a failure right now because he's making noise. It's all part of the journey, but what's so beautiful about it, Buddhas, is that every single one of those times that something has gone right or every single one of those times that something has gone wrong, the interpretation ultimately comes down to this guy. And the same thing is reflective in your world. Everything that you do is a reflection of what you're doing. And that kind of sounds self-fulfilling and self-making sense, but if you start something with the intention of succeeding in it, and then you hit a road bump and you hit a failure and you hit these barriers, and you really ask yourself, is this what I want to do? Is this the thing that I intend to succeed at? Then you have that opportunity to say, you know what, yes, this is what I'm working on, and I don't care if I don't succeed at it today, because it took Edison 10,000 tries to get the electric light bulb, and I'm really glad that he did. It took Tesla so many different iterations and so much work in order to create electricity that actually, travels to your homes and powers all your stuff and things. If these guys had failed and chosen to allow that failure to define them, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. These guys failed, but they never let those failures define them, and that's the real key here, Buddhas. I am at a point now where I am done letting my little misconceptions and my little difficulties define me in my life. And I am like a bulldozer kind of plowing through what I need to get through in order to make it, in order to be the Buddha that I need to be, in order to get this message to 1 billion Buddhas. And at the end of the day, if you don't love what you're doing and you're just kind of doing it for the money, that's where it's super easy to fail, because ultimately what you're doing is not the thing that you're interested in, and it's going to fail. But when you're interested in doing something and you're constantly building on it and you love it, and a failure hits you in the face, you kind of just laugh. And that's the best test, the best understanding of something that you love, and something that you can fail at 1,000, 100,000, 1,000,000 times. 1,000 lifetimes even, just to get to where you're going. And that is what failure teaches us. It's that you decide if you fail or not, Buddhas. You quintessentially have full and utter control over who fails. And the only person you have any control over whatsoever in any way is yourself. So if you decide that what you're working on is a failure, then it's a failure. But if you decide that what you're working on is worth working on, and that you're going to put in the time and the nights and the mornings and the whatever it is, that whatever that sacrifice is, whatever that effort, that work, that endeavor is, and you don't care because it just feels like it's coming through you and you just have to bring that message out, then it doesn't matter if you fail 1,000 times doing it, because you're not going to feel like you're failing. You're not going to feel like a failure because you've decided that that's not the point. The point is that all of those little misses, those mistakes, those mishaps are lessons, and beautiful lessons of that. And those lessons are teaching you, Buddhas, how to be the best you. And it all comes down to one super important thing at the end of the day, Buddhas, and that is to love yourself.